Ray in Michigan, thanks for waiting. You are on with Jenna and Matt.
Hi, Ray.
Hi. I'm glad you guys took my call. I just want to thank you, Jenna. I was going to give up trying to talk to you guys because I kind of was a little long-winded with the person who took the call.
Oh.
But your story really touched me because I'm kind of struggling right now to kind of handle some things with my family.
Okay.
My son is 10 years old, and I was adopted at 10 years old, but I was suicidal at 9 because I had gone through foster care and experienced a lot of abuse. And I was going to commit suicide because I had been raised in a Christian upbringing and thought the best way to connect with an actual father was to just do myself. Okay. Fast forward through a rocky marriage and finally figuring out who and what I am. I'm now bringing up this beautiful 10-year-old son with Aspergers.
Mm-hmm.
And I came out to my mom recently to just let her know that, for the longest time, and I pretty much almost all my life, I've pretty much been a pretender. So it was very easy for me to act like, whatever anybody wanted me to be.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Sort of, and I would, kind of going along to get along.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
But I had experienced so much trauma. I've seen the best in people, but I really saw the worst in people, and I longed for acceptance. I found sort of like a cult-like community that seemed to accept me, but I just didn't believe, because of all of that. And now letting my mother know that my son is going to church with her, and I want for him to have a relationship with his grandmother because,
Sure.
she's pushing into her 80s, and she's, she has a lot of health problems, and I want him to have every moment with her.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want him to go through what I went through,
right.
That need for acceptance and going through, rejection. I lived a very nomadic life, so I don't get attached to things, but I do get attached to people.
Right.
And I'm always trying to express to my son that, you got to give to live. Life is about giving your time, and, people are not always going to be nice to you, and you can't, you can't expect that people are always going to want to share, but you do your best by them.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's always surprised by me because I'm very extrovert, and they're very surprised when I talk to them about being nice and doing the right thing, and then I tell them that that I'm not a believer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Detroit is one of those, all you need to do is pass a gas station and the next thing you'll see is a church.
Right.
That kind of thing. Okay. Church is on every corner. So my family is very, very evangelical, and I tried. I even played piano and sang in the choir,
mm-hmm.
first soprano. I tried to find some enjoyment, some solace in the church, but there was always that nagging thing. And I cannot pretend anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had very much communication with my family. In fact, the last event that we had together was one of my cousin's parties, and they asked me where I had been. And I just told them, you know what, I've been working,
mm-hmm.
which is basically what I've been doing. But I just really didn't share too much, and everybody was like, well, we'll continue to pray for you, which is the most nagging thing that I always hear. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. Well, the best thing you can do is just be happy for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had an argument with my mom, and she basically said, you'd be surprised all the things God did for me. And I said, you know what? Whatever you think, Mom, I don't believe in God, but I do believe in you because you're the person who's been there when no one else was. And I have evidence right in front of me that you are here. And all I want you to know is that I'm here too. And as long as Royal knows that we're there for him, he can run with that. We just have to make sure that we're there for him. So she said to me, basically, you know, she basically told me that she wasn't going to pressure me, and, you know, said, well, maybe I shouldn't take him to church. I said, no, he comes and sees you every weekend. Just let him enjoy himself, but just don't press the gospels on him, because he doesn't have that frame of reference. And we're just trying to bring up this child who wants so much to be accepted. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't have much comment other than it may not feel like it, but it seems to me that you're doing fine and doing the right thing. You're being open and honest with the people you care about. You're looking after your son. You're setting boundaries for yourself when it comes to relationships with other people. I mean, apart from, you know, the things we constantly reference, like recovering from religion and a local community that you can interact with, you're just describing what I think is one of the best ways of dealing with a lot of the same conflict and anxiety that the rest of us deal with regularly too.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're really self-aware, and it sounds like you've pushed through a lot of things, and I think you should give yourself credit for not giving up in so many situations. Like you kept pushing through. I think it's.
I always tell people. I'm sorry. I always tell people I'm a stone roller. Everybody, like, people took a chance on me. I'm willing to take a chance on anybody. I'm a stone roller. I don't just turn over every stone. I make them roll.
Right.
Because I will try everything. I will give it my I give people every chance that I can. I try to make the most of it.
You know,
I want for my son to have a life where, at least a childhood where he's not feeling like he's not loved, because that's what I lived for the first 10 years of my life. And just being with this beautiful woman who I thought was secular for the longest time, and then find out that she's Christian, and just to fall back into all that.
Yeah, well, so it sounds like you do love him, and you tell him that, and you show him that all the time, right?
Yeah, and you know, my family, you know, I guess being a Black cultural family, they think spare the rod, spoil the child. A lot of them are not willing to accept his condition, and having gone through a life of abuse, like when I came to my mom. I was already pretty much a grown person in a child's body. And I shielded myself with school, which is one of the biggest things that attracted her about me, because, you know, here's this bright kid, but I used school to shield me, you know. School was home and home was hell.
It sounds like you have a lot to say, and like... Yeah. I feel your emotion right now. Like, I feel that you need to get this out. You need to talk to somebody. Do you have anybody that you can talk to? You know,
I've shared my story with a lot of people, but I think that, like I said, the thing that you said touched me, and I guess I just wanted confirmation that I'm doing right by my son. Most important.
Oh, one thing that I would add, I think that you're doing everything right if you're okay with heading the direction that I headed. But one thing I would ask is I used to be that kind of person that I was constantly giving all of myself to everyone all the time. And that wore me down. That wore me down really badly, to where I didn't know how to take care of myself. And I've actually just recently started learning how to do that. And so I just ask that you consider, if you're throwing yourself in that mix, and taking care of yourself as passionately as you take care of everyone else.
The other thing to mention is that, you know, Mandy's is a good friend of mine, and we've had her on the show before. There is a Black Nonbelievers of Detroit. So if you're looking for a secular community specifically that relates to being African American, by all means, Black Nonbelievers of Detroit exists. I found their meetup just now. I was checking on my phone to see if there was a chapter in the Detroit area, and there is.
Yeah.
Cool. So it sounds like you have a community there already that might be able to help you. So also recovering from religion. And just one last thing, don't be afraid of exposing your son to different ideas. Just promote that he asks questions when he doesn't know the answer to something, and I think that he'll probably be fine.
He's got you as a mom. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I always tell people, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I always tell people the two hardest things for people to say is, I don't know and I need help.
Yeah.
It's like the hardest
and
thing.
it sounds like you know how to do
language.
that.
I don't know and I need help. And I'm always, I'm a personal trainer and a self-management coach, and I'm always letting people know that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
you have to tell yourself that too.
But the biggest thing for me is this person who basically brought me from the brink. I don't want to lose her.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I want to really honor her. But at the same time, I know, I don't want to do anything that will devastate her, or especially because she's older now.
Right.
When I say she's an elder, I should say, and I really just want to keep this positive relationship with her.
Yeah, and that's understandable.
And that's the hardest thing.
That's understandable. Go ahead.
No, I get that. I mean, yes, I had arguments with my parents on occasion, but we'll avoid that a lot. But also my grandmother, who died last March at 91, she knew I was an atheist. She wrote me exactly one letter about it. And apart from that, we never had discussions about that. We talked about anything and everything else under the sun. We played cards. We watched TV. I remember one of my fondest memories, and I love my grandmother dearly. My grandmother was fucking awesome, which is exactly what I posted on Facebook the day she died. We were sitting there back when Trump was running in 2016, and I was sitting in a chair next to her, and he was on TV or something.
Oh, the Tito and Chief?
Yeah. And she looked at me and she said, "What do you think of that Trump?" And I said, Grandma, I really don't want to get into politics right now.
Yeah.
And she goes, "I can't stand him. I'm voting for Hillary." and that I was so unexpected, because I knew a lot about my grandmother. We had lots of talks. There were things that we didn't talk about. And here I was avoiding a conversation where we would have been in agreement. I was desperate to not cause some disagreement, because I just wanted to have a good time and spend quality time with my grandmothers. It turns out I didn't need to avoid that at all.
Well, I was going to say that that's kind of along the lines of that, which is you may devastate her at some point. It might happen, but it might not.
The big thing is whether or not they're devastated over something that is actually your fault. Like, have you wronged them? Then you make amends for it. But if anybody is going to be upset or devastated over who you are or the fact that you don't agree, that's their issue, not yours. And the only thing you can really do is point that out and say, look, the fact that we don't have agreement on this doesn't mean I love you any less. Doesn't mean I don't want you in my life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for the call, Ray. I hope that you continue, and that you gradually get to where you are more at ease with all of the struggles in your life. Because I'm not kidding. Like if you ever packed up and moved out of Detroit and came to Austin, I might just put you in charge of my life.
Nice.
I could use a personal trainer and somebody with all their ducks in a row to help me out.
It's amazing how sometimes, I think somebody said, a celebrity is only it's like a celebrity to the world, but he just any old body in his hometown. So,
you're never famous in your hometown.
Right. I really do appreciate that, but it's almost like everything that I'm hearing from you, I've said it to other people, but it's never the same when it hits home. You know what I'm saying?
So next time you're saying it to other people, record it and then play it back to yourself later.
Yeah.
Because you deserve to hear it as much or more as the people that you're sharing it with.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yes.
Thank you for
Ray.
calling, Ray. Good luck with everything.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you both. Thank you
so much.